You guys, I just caught another one. Look, 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 right there. There he is. There he is. We're in Central Jersey. It's 7:30. There he is. They're flying right there. Them drones are right. There's another one right there. Hold up. I'm about to show you guys right there. Yo, I am literally in the parking lot of Whole Foods. And they're just look, look. Oh, man. Hold on. Yeah, right there, right there. Let's see if we can zoom in, man. Right there. There's another one. Right there, I don't know if you guys see it right there. Those are the drones. Holy, there's another one. Right there, you see it? You guys see it? Oh, right there, bro. Oh my.
Oof. New Jersey drones, UFOs, UAPs, false flag by the government. We have some inside information. We're gonna go into some crazy theories. We're not claiming that this is the absolute truth, but let's talk about it. This is extremely important, and you will only hear it here for sure. So this is the brand new, renovated Good for Thought, and I'm your host, NazareN. Let's roll.
Good for thought.
What up, everybody? What's good to all you beautiful subscribers and casual pass buyers? This is Good for Thought, brought to you by you. Yeah, so I know that I seem to clown around a lot, and I try to keep things on the light side. But these so-called quote-unquote New Jersey drones, some of them are calling them UFOs or UAPs, or, we're constantly getting these keywords, so to speak. And keywords, if you know or you don't know, they work like symbols. They become slogans. We have seen them being used often in history, more recently in different, world conflicts, and different sides choose different slogans because they're easier to stick in our brain. Now, super quick, this is not clickbait. I actually spoke with someone that claims that they were in contact with whatever this is that's going on in New Jersey. Before you call me crazy, whatever, just hear me out. So usually, I've said this a million times already, I don't script these videos. Some of you may know that I also rap. So, even when I record songs, I usually 99.9% of the time, I try not to go back and fix anything, because I firmly know, or believe, if you will, that if the information comes out the way it's supposed to come out, that's what you're supposed to get. And if I, go back and I script the thing, and then I look up keywords or something, that I'm affecting your brain in one way or another, and it becomes like a science project more than, just us talking. And that's what this channel is about. The podcast, this show, whatever. I want us to have communication. So I never script these things, but sometimes I sit down and I write notes. So first of all, I have to apologize. So if I'm going to be a little bit all over the place, I apologize in advance. If I'm going to be looking down in notes, I'm not going to cut it out in post-production. I'm just going to be looking down in notes. So another quick disclaimer. I have said this a million times, and this is crucial. This is very important. Whenever you are sharing information or receiving information. But more importantly, whenever you are sharing any kind of information, I would expect for you to do what I did. And let me explain. Before I even ever opened my mouth publicly, socially, so to speak, it was over 30 years. I'm talking 30 years of me living on the streets, traveling the world, speaking to different philosophers, going to visit different tribes, being in the Vatican, knowing 5 languages. Ever since I'm 5 years old, I'm reading religions and philosophies and studying just sciences, just about anything. So what I'm trying to say that oftentimes, we pick up on a propaganda, and because we have already internally chosen a side, we start running with that information. And I would love if people would stop doing that. Why? Because it becomes dangerous if you don't stand 100% behind what you're talking about. Now, of course, none of us can stand 100% behind what we're talking about, but at least stand 90% behind what you're talking about, because this is crucial. You can be affecting someone's lives. Like, let's say, we're facing all these conflicts in the world, and if you choose a side based on a propaganda that you've been fed, and you think to yourself, yes, I chose the right camp, let me share this information. Now you are being a catalyst for someone possibly, going off and doing something stupid based on what you said. And then years later, we find out, hey, none of us were right, man. We, on both sides, we became a target of propaganda. Another super quick thing, and I talked about it with one of my last guests on the podcast. I want everyone to understand, and it baffles my mind how humanity still doesn't understand that they have been for more than 100 years, and even Plato talked about this 3,000 years ago. Machiavelli talked about it centuries ago. But especially in our recent history, in the past couple of centuries, let's say the monarchies, the dynasties that are running countries and societies, they're not running it. I've said this a million times. We are the ones that gave them power. But besides the point, those structures, they have built whole universities and institutes and laboratories that study how information affects different social structures and individuals. And I mean, it's not that crazy to think, but we seem to constantly, forget this, because there's no other way that they could, control, if you will, the populations and impose different things on the populations if there weren't these centers that study, societies based on our history, based on the way we react, studying, the human's brain. And so while normal people living a normal life, going out to work to feed their families, they're, the people that are quote unquote in control, these governments above governments, they're studying us. They're learning about us. They're imposing different things on us.
Good for thought.
I really want everyone to keep that in mind. We are talking about New Jersey drones, but each thing that I say, I think is very important, because again, we know oftentimes we choose sides way too quickly, or we run with a certain information way too quickly because we think that it makes sense in our mind. And it goes back to something I said before. I spent 30 years before I opened my mouth about anything. Now, of course, I was recording music since I was 15, 16 years old. I was writing, songs since I was 11. But in songs and in music, you take it as art. So it's not as crucial as like now that we have YouTube and people have these spheres of influence. Now, in my intro, I should have said, welcome to the most shadow banned channel on YouTube. And if you're going to think that I'm crazy, I'm not crazy. I have thought about this and talked to different people that know about these things. So just to give you a quick example, we're having all these people that have huge followings, right? And I always give a perfect example of, let's say, like Bart Sibril, right? That a week before he came on our podcast, he was on Joe Rogan. Now, obviously, we're not Joe Rogan, but still, he came on our podcast a week after Joe Rogan. So let's say if Joe Rogan got 2 million views in a week, our podcast, the first episode will come out, will be like 50 views, So why do I think, and based on that I talk to people, why we are so shadow banned? It's not that I'm super smart or super wise or I'm giving you like this mind-blowing information. As a matter of fact, recently in the past year, I have steered away from releasing like super crazy information because I want to make sure that we are talking to the regular guy. And I think this is why they are shadow banning us so much, because all of a sudden, all these different, quote unquote, celebrities are coming to our podcast, and the person that's interviewing them all of a sudden is not some Joe Rogan or someone that themselves is like a geopolitical expert or something, or a scientist or whatever. Someone that's actually interviewing him is a regular dude. And I think that's why this channel, our channel, is so dangerous to them, because all of a sudden the information, the crucial information, is coming from a regular dude. So when I'm speaking to you, you're not seeing, someone that's, like a politician or a scientist or whatever. You're seeing yourself. You know what I'm saying? You're seeing a regular dude. So I think that's why we are the most shadow banned channel on YouTube. I just had to mention it. If for some reason this video doesn't get to you, you'll know why. We are heavily blocked. I used to myself not believe in shadow ban that much. So going back to these New Jersey drones. Now again, quote unquote drones, UFOs, UAPs. People have been discussing, what are these? Is this a false flag operation? Shout out to my brother Jim Dillinger, because he prophesied sort of these false flag events a couple of years ago. I highly urge you to go to the Jim Dillinger channel. He's also one of these, to them, dangerous channels, because here's, a regular guy giving you like, unregular information, man. So Jim Dillinger, was talking about these false flag operations by the government, and especially looking at the recent history of what's been going on the last 4 years, with the pandemic, and now with all of these conflicts all around the world. The next logical thing would be a fake alien invasion. And the information that I'm gathering is that this is not a false flag operation. This has nothing to do with the government. Now, I'll correct myself because everything has one or another thing to do with the government, meaning that they know, right? Like they know, obviously, what's going on. But in this case, what it looks like that this is not anything government, and let me explain. So I do have a video, I'm gonna punch it in here, where I'm driving to the store. It was 7 p.m. This happened last week, and all of a sudden I see these different lights in the sky, and they're not planes, they're not helicopters, they're not Starlink. There are no airports around where I am right now. I'm in Central Jersey. And so, while I'm driving, I try to quickly get the phone out. And that's why it's not, the greatest video, because think about it, like I'm driving to the store, man. So from the information that we're gathering from the internet and from people that I've spoke to locally, they're saying that this has been going on for a month at the rate that it's been going on. What do I mean by that? Usually, and if you pay attention to like different videos and what I see, usually it's 7 of these things. They start around 5:36 p.m. at night. Like they're not deep in the night. I actually went out deep in the night, drove around, Jersey to try to see if I spot anything. I haven't seen anything. So usually they're at the times where, people come home from work, and we can actually we can actually see these things. So the craziest thing is that people actually believe that the government doesn't know, what it is. Obviously they know what it is. I mean it's baffling, it's mind-blowing. Think about, the trillions and trillions of dollars that we are spending on developing these high-tech weapons. Trust me, we probably developed weapons we can't even imagine about. And I do say we, because we're the ones that are feeding this process with, we're paying taxes for it. We go into the stores, we go into banks. Like all of that is going back to these psychos to be doing these things. Paranoid, man. These psychos are in the governments and the shadow governments, whatever you want to call it. They're constantly paranoid, man. So if you sit back and you think to yourself, man, we could have done so much with those human resources, with all of that time, with all of that money. For example, we could be bringing water to Africa. I mean, we could be doing so much for ourselves. And that's another super important thing that I want to mention, is that we're always fighting one another, arguing one another about politics and what's going on, and we're choosing sides. I want all of you to understand this very, very important thing. These people at the governments, first of all, they are legal psychopaths, a percentage of them, right? And a huge percentage of them, they're not even people. I'm not about to say they're reptilians or reptiloids or beings from another planet, whatever. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that they have drifted so far away from how a normal human being is, meaning, again, I'm going back to the same thing. We want to live, we want to feed our family, we want to enjoy our family, we want to go out with friends, we want to plant we want to do normal shit, man. We don't want to overtake other countries and everything like that. But even the more important thing is that with they're using us as tools to complete their psychopathic missions. Anyway, I'm going off topic. I'm gonna be looking down at notes real quick. But maybe I'll just keep talking. So I've been in contact with someone that describes being in contact with whatever these things are. Why are these things not? Again, this is all my the information that I've gathered. You know, I'm not saying these are facts. Why they are not government? Because of the technology. And again, do we have some super freaking like advanced technology and weaponry and possibly even drones? But this is even beyond that, right? So the technology, right? And would it make sense that the government would tell us we don't know what's going on to bring on panic? Absolutely, it would make sense. But from what I'm hearing, from what I saw myself, the reason why I'm pretty convinced that this is not the government, this is not false flag, is because of the technology. Now, all of you Christians or even flat earthers or whatever, you can say interdimensional. To all you other, people that believe in the universe and the planets and everything, could be beings from other planets. Again, from all the information that I've gathered in the past 30 years, there have been beings from other planets on our planet. Again, you can say you can say beings from another dimension. They have been here for thousands of years. There are hundreds and hundreds of scriptures that talk about this. There are many different tribes that have been talking about this for hundreds of years. And if someone thinks to themselves, "Ooh, you're kind of speaking like Billy Carson," Billy Carson never ever talked about, for example, the Slavic Rahmans, right? That's another tribes that I had a privilege of being in contact with many years ago, that relate this information that beings with crazy technologies have been here for thousands of years. They have bases deep underground. There are bases in the Antarctica. There are bases in the Himalayan mountains. Like they're everywhere, man. So those stories have always been around. It was so crazy that the person that told me what they told me, they had to kind of swear that they wouldn't release this information. Not swear, but promise. And they couldn't even release this information to their closed ones. But we got the information. Here it is. So what happened was, and I'm retelling the story, after witnessing some of these things in the sky, and again, most of the time it's, for some reason, it's 7 of them, right? This person comes home, is going to sleep. Now, I could have done did a whole AI like visual for you here, but I'm not gonna do that, man. I don't wanna manipulate you, man. So, this person is going to sleep at about 5 in the morning, right? And they are in between, the sleep and the wake state, right? Like just about to fully fall asleep. This is what they tell me. A hole opens up in the ceiling. Now, obviously, this isn't, you have to understand, like, a lot of people, sometimes when they're telling me these stories, though, we got physically abducted, and then we're having all these different sensations in our body. There would be no reason for anyone or anything to abduct us physically, like no reason, because we have a consciousness, right? Consciousness, they communicate with the consciousness, through electromagnetism, vibrations. Like, this is simple to, I mean, if people don't believe this, you're using a phone to FaceTime someone 10,000 miles away, man. This is not something so crazy. Going back to the story. So, and again, this person told me that for sure this is not a dream. This wasn't even like an lucid dream, but a hole, right, opens up in the ceiling, and that person consciousness is about to be pulled up, if you will, right, to the craft, because there was a craft. And as this process is happening, this person cannot handle it, right? So they start moaning, right? And as this person is moaning, they get left alone, and the hole that they seen in the ceiling seals back up. Now, before this happened, I almost forgot, the person says that while they were in bed about to fall asleep, weird noises started happening in the house, noises that they never heard before, and these noises sounded like someone or something was trying to get their attention. Now, this is extremely important because everyone is asking if these are otherworldly beings, or they're living in the ocean. People are panicking that for some reason they think, well, because again, the propaganda was input in their heads, that these beings are leaving our planet, and that's not the case. So when this material world took shape, I talked about this in another video, there were certain rules that were put in place, and one of these rules were that beings, be it from other dimensions or from other planets or whatever, as far as I'm concerned, other planets, other dimensions, that's not they're not too far apart. Certain rules were set in place that beings from other realities wouldn't be able to affect other worlds. Like that's just a basic law, right? So that's why throughout history it seems like these beings were always, and these crafts were always around, but they never they never interacted, or they never made themselves known, or they never, let's say, stopped wars or anything like that, because that's one of the laws in the material reality. Governments, right? They've always been in contact with them, but again, these beings were not able to affect anything that the government do. Not that they weren't able to, is they never went against that law until now, because we are at an extremely crucial time. I'm not gonna say nuclear thermal war and everything, right? Because again, all these phrases and things that we've been hearing on the news, again, this is like slogans that they're implementing in our head for us to panic. They want us to panic. They want us to be afraid. So in New Jersey, there are many sites where weaponry is hidden underground. It's logical because you know, we're in the East Coast, Europe is on the other side. You know, so if we were going to defend ourselves or if we were going to attack someone, it would make sense. So New Jersey is that site, and a lot of these crafts were being seen over those sites. But not only. These crafts are being noticed on top of certain houses, right? And certain people are noticing them. So what is going on? The person that related that story to him of his consciousness almost going up to his craft, but being too, I don't know, too afraid or too frail to go up, is telling me that these beings and these crafts are they're sort of trying to find who to recruit, meaning who to communicate with. And, you know, all of a sudden you start thinking, well, you know, I'm a good person. You know, I know information, like, you know, I love other people, you know, they should come and communicate with me. But the point is, and why it relates to the story that I said, that it's not that you just only have to be a good person or know a lot of information, is that your energy, your force field has to be a certain way for them to be able to communicate with you. And that is why the person that related the story to me, when this started happening, his bio energy field, whatever you want to call it, his force battery, his life force couldn't handle it. This is crucial. So again, to kind of summarize, it looks like finally these beings are finally going against, you know, the universal laws of not intercepting the course of history, of because something so crucial is about to happen, they are finally intercepting. Is it because they love us so much? Maybe. But on the other hand, if you think about it, it could be possibly because they need this planet, and these psychopaths with our help is about to destroy this shit. Because their time came, right? Kali Yuga, going back to Kali Yuga. So they're about to go back to wherever they're freaking from, and they want to get, you know, they're like, whatever, man, I don't care about this planet. Let's blow this shit up. And those beings, they're like, nah, we need this planet. Plus, if you make a huge mess here, it's going to affect everything else. Because even if you look at the solar system is so, you know, tightly, it's one organism. I keep talking about this forever. There's you, me, these beings, like this is all one organism, man. So again, to summarize, that is why these quote unquote drones are over these military sites, nuclear sites, but also they are recruiting and trying to see if there are human beings that they can infect, come in contact with in order to solve this issue. No, they're not running away, because if they were running away, we wouldn't know about it, man. And also going back to something I seen, a video that says that these, all of a sudden, you know, it's a orb, and then it changes into a plane. They're not shape-shifting. These crafts are affecting the way we see them. I mean, we have magicians that can affect what you see, right? And so are the technologies of these crafts. They are able to affect what we see. Again, if you start breaking down quantum mechanics, it's not something so crazy to do. So that's what I have for you. Take it or leave it. I'm just relating it to you. Also, very important, I had to get permission in order to relate this to you. This video will probably again get 30, 40 views because they're blocking us. So if you're amongst those people, those 40, 50 views that actually see this, you're getting this fresh, right? No one else is gonna tell you this, and that's why you're special. So anyway, NazareN, prove to me that you're alive, good for thought. Make sure to go get Goddess Journey. It's out right now by Romaniya Poet. So huge shout out to Romaniya Poet. Huge shout out to my boy Tomek. Obviously my boy Jim Dillinger, my boy David Voronyuk. Tomorrow we have a crazy podcast with someone that David Voronyuk hooked us up with. So you got to check that out. It's going to be mind-blowing. Anyway, love all of y'all. Hope this wasn't too long, too dragging, too whatever. Peace and love, man. We out of here.